96.7 KCAL rocks. It is time on a Thursday to check in with our guy, Pep, because we're doing some sports. What is up, Pep?
Let's do some sports, Patrick. Man, it's a good time of the year as we get ready for baseball season. NFL teams all feel like they're getting better this time of the year. The first thing is the NFL Combine. Guys will be on the field this weekend and throughout the week, through this week and weekend. And maybe it's not as appealing or as intriguing as last year's draft because we had a really special NFL draft last year with some really top tier quarterbacks. Maybe outside of Travis Hunter from the University of Colorado, because he's kind of that novelty, right? Like he plays on both sides of the football. He's very good on both sides of the football. Which team is he going to go number one, and which team drafts him? Is he going to play on both sides, or is he going to specialize on defense or offense? Like outside of him, I don't know if there's a whole lot to be like super excited about this year's NFL draft.
Yeah, really. I mean, they're saying there's really not much difference from pick number 4 all the way to 30.
Yeah, like there's not that like top tier talent, like guys who are going to be your franchise or the face of your franchise for a bunch of years. I don't know if that guy is in this year's draft. They were saying, the so-called experts were saying like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, maybe even Bo Nix. All those guys would be the number one pick this year, hands down, if they were in this year's draft. Like that's how good last year's was compared to this one.
Yeah, Bo Nix. I mean, too bad he played for a zillion years in college. He couldn't do one more.
One more, right? So the NFL Combine is taking place. And again, that's the first step towards getting to the NFL Draft. And Travis Hunter's kind of the intriguing story right there of what he's going to do. Maybe following Deion's footsteps. Remember, Deion was a Hall of Fame defensive back, but I had to look up his stats. He still had, I think it was like 60 catches, 3 touchdowns, like over 700 yards receiving in his career. So they would roll, especially the Cowboys, they would roll him out there once in a while to try to make a big play on offense.
And then remember, even for that, I mean, especially for the Atlanta Falcons, he was a big punt returner.
Yes, exactly. So, I love Michigan football. I remember Desmond Howard used to return kicks and, flirt with the offensive side of the football as well. And, so... Anyways, you don't see those guys very often. The Shohei Ohtani of football. So we'll see what happens at the Combine. But most of these guys will not actually do a lot of physical football activities. They might run, they might lift, they might jump, they might do those sorts of things. But, catching footballs, throwing footballs, don't expect a lot of that at the Combine this week. But what the real talk is right now is all these teams who need a quarterback going into the draft, they might not be convinced that their franchise quarterback is in this draft. They might have to go out and find a veteran guy. And the linchpin, the guy who's kind of holding this all together right now, and as soon as he goes, it's all going to go, is Matt Stafford of the Rams. Are the Rams going to trade Matt Stafford to somewhere else? And it sounds like, Tom Brady has been talking with Stafford about, going to the Las Vegas Raiders. And, the Giants, the New York Giants definitely need a quarterback. They feel like they can win right now if they had the right quarterback. So Matt Stafford, I think, is kind of the guy holding everything up right now.
I think he's absolutely nuts to leave LA and the situation he's in. I do realize Cooper Kupp is not going to be there, and that could be a huge bummer. But he didn't use him much this year anyways, and they basically came a couple plays away from at least tying Philadelphia, and they certainly gave him a hell of a lot of a better game than the Kansas City Chiefs did. I mean, gosh, he nearly went into Philadelphia and beat them, and he'd be in the Super Bowl, and now he wants to go somewhere else. I think, like you said, Tom Brady has a huge reason for this at all. They're blaming the wife and her podcast. Are the Rams tired of it? You know what? If you remember last year, there was a little bit of fogginess with this. I actually think he ends up staying with the Rams, Pat.
And that might be the most likely scenario and probably the best scenario for both involved, the Rams and Matt Stafford, for him to not go anywhere. But he wants his money. And he doesn't want to restructure his deal. So he might look elsewhere to see, hey, is there a team that will, trade for me and give me that contract I'm looking for? So I get it, man. Like he's only got probably a couple of years left. He's going to try to go out, maybe get one more big payday before his NFL career is done. But you're right. The best case scenario is probably for him not to leave the Rams.
But it is incredible. I mean, everybody loves to say money isn't everything. I mean, he has made $360 million. So doesn't seem like he should be hurt.
No, he should be doing okay at this point. But yeah, I think Matt Stafford is kind of the first domino to fall in terms of these offseason quarterbacks and whether these NFL teams want to draft a quarterback or not. It's probably depending on what veterans are out there. So if Matt Stafford, if he leaves the Rams, now we're hearing Aaron Rodgers does have a preferred team, and that team is the Rams. He'd like to go to the Rams, but he's also being linked to the Raiders, to the Steelers, like all these other teams. So Aaron Rodgers is out there. Matt Stafford is out there. Let's say Stafford goes somewhere else and Aaron Rodgers is off the table. Then who? Sam Darnold? A return to Southern California, or maybe Kirk Cousins. Maybe the Falcons go all in on Michael Penix Jr. I mean, dude, there's so many scenarios out there on the table.
I just can't see it, man. But I guess, it gets wild. That's why we pay attention. The off season is like the highest rated thing.
Love it. Love it, man. Totally love it. Let's talk some baseball as well. Spring training underway. And Mike Trout, his first hit of the spring, of course. It's the long ball. Hit his first home run of the year on Wednesday. Remember, he played just 29 games last season because of that knee injury. And people, at some point, you're concerned, like, man, can he still do it? Well, he answered that. He can still do it. I know it's spring training baseball, but he can still swing it. And hopefully he can get healthy, get a lot of at-bats this season, give the Angels a real chance this year to be a contender.
Yeah, it was just kind of scary to hear that it's like his first home run since like last April.
Yes.
In any game. I mean, wow.
Yeah, like almost a year. So he can still do it. If you're worried, like, hey, is he going to come back? Is he going to be at the same level? I know it's a small sample size, but it's enough to get Angel fans excited. Like, yes, the old Mike Trout is back. Let's do this. He's 33 years old. I would still consider that his prime, but that window is closing. And I know the Angels have a good young nucleus, but it all starts with keeping Mike Trout in the lineup every day, keeping him healthy. So hopefully that happens.
Hey, the good thing is there's no pressure on the Angels. People expect nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could do something.
If they actually made the playoffs, they would exceed all these expectations. Like, oh my gosh, great year.
Everyone gets a raise.
Yes, everyone. And listen, no offense to your Seattle M's, but the American League West, I feel like, is wide open, man. Like the Astros, the Rangers took a step back. Seattle's still good, but I don't know if they're getting ready to go out and just dominate people. So the American League West is up for the taking.
Yeah, it is.
So we'll see. And finally, let's talk some NBA. This is a big stretch for the Lakers coming up. If you're a Lakers fan, pay attention to this. Tonight, they're going to play the Minnesota Timberwolves. Right now in the Western Conference standings, the Lakers are number 5. Minnesota is number 7, okay? That's tonight. Then on Friday and Sunday, the Lakers go head-to-head with the Clippers. Now, the Clippers are number 6. So 5, 6, 7 in the Western Conference standings, going head-to-head over the next 3 days. And remember, the top 6 get the automatic spot into the playoffs. 7 through 10, you have to play in the play-in tournament. Patrick, these are huge games coming up for the Lakers. Only a couple games separate these 3 teams.
They are huge games, but it is kind of weird that they're kind of the premier teams, kind of a race to the bottom, if you will, of the playoffs. It's kind of wild that this is where those teams are currently because they're not terrible.
No, and I'm like, what bizarro world are we living in? Again, Oklahoma City, I know they're good. They've got some great young players, but they are by far the best team in the West. It just still kind of boggles my mind. And then, listen, I know John Morant's good, but the Memphis Grizzlies are like the second best team. The Houston Rockets are like one of the top 4 best teams. Like, what happened? Like, when this all got flipped in reverse? I mean, Minnesota was supposed to be that top team, and they're barely struggling to stay out of the play-in tournament.
Right. Maybe this Luka trade will change everything. I mean, it certainly looks like it is developing.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers do look like one of the better teams in the Western Conference. Listen, the Denver Nuggets are going to be right. When all the dust settles, Denver's going to be right there, man. They are battle-tested. They've got some great players. But I think the road out of the West is only more difficult. Now, there is a lot of parity. I think it could be a little more open than previous seasons because I don't know if Oklahoma City is ready to take that mantle as the best team in the Western Conference. They do have the best record, but I don't know if facing them in the playoffs would be very daunting for a team like, I don't know, the Lakers or even say the Clippers, man. Kawhi, James Harden, like, don't count out the Clippers either.
Yeah, don't count out the Clippers. The Lakers are developing. I think they did get our attention when they went into Denver and
Yes.
snapped their 9-game winning streak and beat them. That was kind of surprising for sure. I know what you're saying, though. Denver is damn good and they are going to be there, but the Lakers did show the potential that they can beat them. I could see that being a little playoff matchup there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think for the Lakers, just stay out of the play-in tournament, stay in the top 6. Nobody, if they're playing like this, like the Lakers are right now, no one's going to want to play them. I don't care if you're Oklahoma City, Denver. Nobody's scared of Houston or Memphis. Nobody's going to want to play the Lakers.
No, there's nothing like being that scary team. He is Pep. Pep, tell him how to get your stuff.
Hey, get my stuff anytime at Inland Sports. You can find us right now on X. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're also on YouTube. So if you're down with the IE, you like sports, check us out. That's Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.